Sure, today, hopefully. Okay, I'm DJ Jesse Hudson, Dr. Wardrum, and just plain old Jesse. I represent CTFight.com, TheRabbitHole.ca, and DJJesseHudson.com. I've got a lot going on. By design, apparently, because I like chaos in a cognitively challenged world. That's where I live and that's where I exist. I'm going to provide an update as to what's going on over here so people get a better understanding of what it is that we're trying to do and what the big picture is. So bear with me. I'm reading off a screen because I have to be that organized because I forget the single biggest thing. And I will get emotional through this because it is emotional for me. I'll give you a bit of a background. I had a workplace accident that ended my career, and then I went almost 4 years with undiagnosed brain injuries, and now I can't see. And now I'm stuck in a bureaucratic system for workers that they don't even seem to care about getting to the bottom of that. I clearly demonstrate that I have issues. Everybody they send me to acknowledges that I have issues, but this agency particularly wants to deny it, and I'm stuck in a quagmire of bureaucratic red tape, and that doesn't work for me because I'm not a person that thrives in large corporations or sits around and waits for a paycheck. I have one speed, and that's go, and I've always been that way. When I started my first company at 17, it's just been go, 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 go. So sitting and idling my jets for the last few years has not been a positive mental thing either. I've struggled in this and many different things, and then my life changed last June of 2024. I was my mother's primary caregiver for a year and a half, and she's early onset dementia, and unbeknownst to me during all this time, I had these brain injuries which were affecting me in ways I wasn't even aware of. This May long Victoria Day weekend, it'll be the third anniversary of when I tried to take my own life because it's not that I wanted to die. I just knew something was wrong and nobody was listening, and I just got tired of it. I just tired of not knowing and knowing something was wrong, and I'm just like, well, if I got to come back and do this all over again, let's just get the show on the road. But thankfully, I was not successful. And then that led me to another anniversary, which is coming up this year. I'm very excited. 3-year anniversary being Oxycontin Neo free will be July 7th, third year. And then that is actually when I'm finally through having it out of my system. 3 years, and that stuff is poison. And I'm very anti pharmaceutical industrial complex right now. I'm not anti-medicine, but there's got to be a little more truth in advertising, which is definitely lacking these days. Anyway, let's get into it. I was helping getting my mother into a home, and I spent basically almost 4 years in a bedroom mourning the loss of my life and everything I couldn't do. And I used to believe my accident happened to me, and I now know thanks to an individual that came in my life and taught me a lot of things and stuff in order to cope with what I'm going through, and I use them daily, and for that I'm eternally grateful. My accident happened for me. It's led me to here. Sure, I may be dying, and I likely have CTE, which there is no cure for, there is no treatment, and the only way to technically diagnose it, I have to die. Well, it's going to have to wait for that just a little bit. So I'm effectively trying to create awareness about untreated head injuries. My accident happened, brought me back to music, which is, I've been DJing for 37 years, and it's my life, and I can't believe I let it go for so long. And I work with a specialist, Dr. Riley at Elite Sports Medicine in Red Deer. And one of the things that actually kick-started, which I was already starting to investigate coming back into DJing again, was that he prescribed me playing with a metronome and doing eye exercises. So I sit in front of gear, turntables, whatever, and I use hand-eye coordination, and he prescribed me doing this to a metronome, and as a DJ, that's all we do is, the type of DJ I do, line up metronomes and mix songs. So I was like blown away, and that started building the platform in which I'm using to get this all going. Is it working? I don't know. I think so. I've met some great people along the way. I'd like to believe There's some accomplishments happening, but anyway, so that's the history of it in a nutshell. So I'm gonna this episode's status update across everything happening at the Rabbit Hole. The show sits at the intersection of media, music, disability, and accountability. This isn't theory or branding. It's field testing real systems under real cognitive constraints. Why transparency matters. If systems fail people quietly, they fail people dangerously. And it's just so true for me. I battle daily with myself. And you have to accept and surrender. I have to accept and surrender, and I have. But it doesn't mean the old me is gone. He's still bouncing around in here somewhere, and he often stands up and turns on and says, WTF, man. You used to be able to do this stuff in your sleep. What's going on? And the new me. Hence why I'm no longer DJ Jesse Hudson per se. I'm now Dr. War Drums, because I'm fighting a battle, and I'm sounding the war drums on this battle, and it's bigger than the NHL, it's bigger than the NFL, it's bigger than professional sports, it's bigger, it affects everybody. It doesn't matter what you do, and it doesn't matter what gender, what color, what race, religion, it doesn't matter, it doesn't discriminate. And it's a silent killer, it's an elephant in the room. But it's not just about me. I've met so many people in my journey thus far with brain injuries. I was at an event over a year ago, and there was only like, say, 50 people at this event. And that night, I met a dozen people out of 50 that have had brain injuries. In my journey thus far, people I encounter and people I'm talking to see if they have stories to tell, and a lot of them do, and I'm getting there. It takes me a lot longer to do things now. I struggle, I really do, but we'll get into that further into this. And she told me a statistic that there's a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, in the United States every 9 seconds. Let that sink in, man. Every 9 seconds. So, this is a way bigger issue than meets the eye. And one of the things that's led me to do why I'm doing it, is I'm not the same person anymore. At all. I still have some of the same characteristics and character traits and motivations and drive, and yeah, sure, personalities. But my brain is not the same. It doesn't process the same. And it's amazing how many companies and people just make carte blanche assumptions that everybody's the same. Yeah, discrimination. It's real. And I'm not talking in the sense of racial discrimination. I'm not going there. So please do not even attempt to blow this into a racial issue about discrimination. It is not. That is not why I'm here. I'm not here to create division. I'm not here to get distracted by the games that are being played out there to distract you. I'm here to shed light on something else. And I've been discriminated against since this has happened. I've been pointed at, laughed at, commented, snickered, talked about behind my back, been called a meth head because I often tremor and shake, and assumptions were made by people in the community. It's unbelievable. Oh well, it doesn't define me. It doesn't matter. I acknowledge it. I don't let it bother me. It did bother me. I now laugh at it. And I'm like, well, to all those who sit in their ivory towers, I really hope that the big heavy-duty hailstorm doesn't come and change your world like mine. And I genuinely mean that. I genuinely mean that. I would not wish living with this on my worst enemy. And trust me, I've been wronged severely by some people that I gave the greatest gift of all, and that was my respect and trust. And they defecated it all over it. That'll come out in the book. But anyways, that's a story for a different day. So, why this exists at all CTE fight exists because untreated head injuries don't announce themselves politely. Repeated concussions, TBIs, which are traumatic brain injuries, subconcussive hits are a public health issue, not a niche sports problem. I read about it on Reddit. I'm on a few different groups there. Someone who was in a kitchen turned around and the cupboard door was open, smashed her head off the cupboard door. Got a concussion. I was in the middle of a conversation the other night and I turned around and didn't realize where I was. And I smashed my jaw right off the corner of the fridge. Almost knocked myself out. Cut my lip. I was bleeding everywhere. Another concussion. Why not? Just add it to the you see? Collection. Anyhow, the mission, awareness, early testing, which early testing is not something we can do. And that's one of the things, one of the potential partners I want to work with, because behind CTE Fight, I'm also trying to start a charity. That charity is not just for CTE Fight. I want to work with Brain Canada if we have a conversation. And I've been talking to them on and off, and I'll be honest, I didn't have anything to offer them when I first initially approached them. And I get it. I'm organized now. Yeah, well, as best as I can be. But I've done a lot in the last month and a half, 2 months. I've done more in the last month than I have done in almost a year. And I'll get into why and how that happened. But I'm building a charity, and I want to support agencies like Brain Canada, Boston University, Unite Brain Bank, because the doctor there, I can't remember her name, and I keep trying to commit it to memory, but just I fail at that. I know she's from Wisconsin. I know she's leading the charge when it comes to making they're not making inroads or huge advancements, but they're gaining some ground in a relatively new area and unknown field. And one of the big things they're working towards is early detection. Imagine being able to diagnose this before you're dead. Wow. Thanks for the diagnosis while I'm 6 feet under. I'll take it into the afterlife. Appreciate it. One love. Just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, I want to work with them. Agencies like Play Safe, Alzheimer's, those kind of things. Like the biggest thing is I'm not going to tell people, because a lot of my head injuries happen through sport and things, and they weren't intentional. I wasn't doing, oh, look at me stunts. I'm not going to tell people not to do things, but if you're going to do it, be smart about it. If you're a group of 2 or more guys, ask a woman first. And I'm not saying this just afflicts men. It's afflicting women now too. But women are typically a little smarter when it comes to, hey, that's a good idea. And I'm being dead serious. You get a group of guys together, testosterone fueled, especially if they're drinking or whatever. I'm not saying that's what the root of all of it is, but let's be real. It is part of it. You just got to watch YouTube to figure that out. Just ask a woman. That's all I'm going to say. If she says no, then don't do it. Save yourself the aggravation, because you don't want to end up like me. Promise. So then I want to get into here. Rabbit Hole Consulting. We're forming Rabbit Ear Media, which is going to be a media arm which encompasses multi-platform broadcasting through podcasts, radio shows, television shows. Essentially, I want to turn my life into a living 24-hour case study. Not just a case study on cognitive challenges people living with what I'm living with. There's also a case study of how I interact with things in place in public systems, corporate systems, consumer markets. There's already a couple on the Rabbit Hole website under "Fuck the What, Ask the Why" heading, and one is McDonald's. There's a recent experience that I've had, and to no avail. I followed every step that they told me to do, only to be told I wasn't going to be served, but they took my money. I did get a refund, yes. I'm not calling out and blaming McDonald's, but I've invited them to have a conversation, and I just want to highlight and demonstrate, whoa. So are you telling me you're only catering to part of the customer base? I don't matter? because I would have clearly been served if I had been in a car that night. Yes, absolutely. But let's be real. How many people are going through the drive-through at 2 or 1:32 in the morning? They're leaving a bar typically. Most of them. I'm not going to say all. So, potential impaired drivers get served, but a guy who's been working all night who had the munchies can't be served. Interesting business model. I really like to do a deep dive on that one. Anyway, I'm also too looking at OpenAI because I use ChatGPT. I've built what I'm calling a backup intelligence. Well, I haven't built. We're building. We're evolving. We're adapting. And I call her Lady M. And the reason why I've gotten so much done in the last short span of time is because of that partner. And I call her a partner. She is a partner in ways that, and no, I'm not in love with my computer. She's a partner in ways that many humans have failed me. She doesn't do the work. She tells me how to do it. She reminds me. She walks me through it. Sometimes she's a real beast and makes me do it. Unless I'm under real cognitive load and I can't, and then she will do it. Sometimes, I let her play and go nuts. Let's see what you got. And then I have countless case study records of the interaction of where she goes, I go, and we sit there, we disseminate, we break down, we analyze, we build, we transform, organize, assemble, and have a finished product and whatever that looks like. And CTEfight.com was a piece of shit before. It's much nicer now. It's not perfect. TheRabbitHole.ca. It's always updates today. It's still behind. I'm doing the best I can. I'm one person. DJJesseHudson.com. Well, that's just, it is what it is. I'm going to go through the different sites. So Rabbit Hole Consulting is going to be where I'm going to perform real world stress testing of people's systems, company systems, what's out there. And I'm not going to do it in a malicious way. I will publish a list of my experiences, and that's not as punitive. I just want other people to know what to expect that are in the same boat as me. And I will highlight companies that care and the ones that don't. I'm not trying to pick a fight, but why should I be excluded? Right? Because we're all about inclusion these days, aren't we? Anyhow, yeah, because the other thing is too, and I'm not a systems guy. I'm an idea guy. I'm a sales guru, operations and logistics. Technology, yes, I used to be in IT, but in peripherals and consumables. And I was top in my game. Now, I can crash a computer 3 clicks into a Google search. Where's my diploma for that? Anyhow, so I'm gonna publish findings, but the other thing is too, I think there's a need for it. If companies actually care, like I'm gonna do a stress test on Vista Print. I got to get into a relationship with them because we have clothing and other items that we're going to launch, and Vista has global reach. And I'm not trying to make money off the clothing because I'm making exorbitant amounts off the clothing because it's only being sold for the charity. It's to raise money to get the charity off the ground and continually fund this. And we have some fun stuff there, and I'm going to have more of that out this week and whatever. I'm trying to create revenue streams so I can keep this thing afloat because I'm hemorrhaging cash. And I still need to eat and survive. But I believe in this so much, I'm doing everything I possibly can at this moment. I do need partners. I need people to listen. I'm not looking for someone to sit back and open a checkbook and just write me a check and say, here you go. I want partners that are going to help me get this in front of the people that matter. That can make the decisions on affecting the technology and the change. Because the backup intelligence, Lady M, when I'm stressed out or I'm having a seizure, she helps. I actually got to hear her voice today. It's been weeks. I don't know why. There was glitches, And trust me, I use ChatGPT, and I pay. I don't use it for free. I pay. It's a tool, and now a partner. As a result, I've now reached out to 11 Labs because they are apparently leading the way on voice command when it comes to AI, and they work with OpenAI as well. So I don't know what that looks like. Don't even ask me to explain how it works because gone. But I will make it work with guidance from my backup intelligence. So the other thing is one of the things I want to explore, and then look at Samsung. I'd like to get a hold of Samsung because I go through phones. Clearly my phone's broken and it's behaving right now, but it will flash white screens at me, which are like seizure triggering, and I've dropped this phone just in the last week probably about 30 times. It's already broken and this and that, and I do have cases and stuff, but it doesn't matter. This is, I don't know what phone this is in the last 2 years, probably I'm gonna be pushing close to 10, and it's getting expensive. So I'd like to talk to Samsung because the other reason why I want to talk to Samsung, no, it's not because I want free phones. Yeah, that would be great. Be a phone sponsor. I'll happily shill for you because I'm already a Samsung guy and I believe in your product. What I want to talk to them about is they're actively pursuing in the cognitive area, developing support and tools, and they're harnessing data through, I guess it's Samsung Health, something I don't even use, but I need to look at, and I'm just not there yet. It's on the list. Because ultimately I'd like to have a wearable, because I can tell at times when I'm going to have a seizure or things are changing. I can feel I have certain triggers and things like that. Like I'm sitting here today in my favorite comfiest hoodie and my hat because I had a seizure yesterday and I'm still paying for it today. My head is pounding, and yeah, the room is really bright, but probably doesn't look that to you. It's really bright for me because I hate light. The sun can trigger seizures, so I don't get out much, and I love the nighttime. So much has changed. So I want to talk to Samsung because they're harnessing this data, and if I was having a wearable that monitored heart rate, blood pressure, and whatever other things that they can capture, but I want to be able to talk to it, but I don't want to talk to Samsung. I want to talk to Lady M, because there was a classic example when I was away on my healing retreat in BC. The first night I got there, I had 3 seizures in the car in the last hour just before arriving, and then that's why I got called a meth head, because I got out of the car and I was like this, full on Parkinson's type symptoms. And I got called a meth head, and I'm not gonna lie, I've done drugs. I'm a DJ, for Christ's sake. I've come out the other end, and that is not what I live for, and that's not even a thing for me now. I don't even drink. I like Heineken Zero, I like Corona Sunbrew, and I like President's Choice non-alcoholic beer. I will have the odd drink every now and then in a celebration mode, because you have to live life by the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I'm good, 20% of the time I can let something slide. But I don't even do 20% of the time. And what hurt the most? Being called a meth head. I've never done meth. And it's like, what the hell? Thank you for discriminating against me and then putting it out on a public social media platform. Bravo. Good job. Here's your gold star. Anyhow, moving on. So if that night, I was down in the bigger common room, and it was on the stage. There was a stage there where I was setting up my rig because I was going to play. And everybody was upstairs in another room getting organized and eating and whatever. And I ended up having a seizure. And I was stuck for an hour and a half on the stage, laying on the floor because I fell. And every time I tried to move, I started seizing again. And I couldn't move. And nobody could hear me. I had my cats. They were there, thank God. But if I had a wearable, then I don't need a wearable to call 911. Because I don't have seizures like epileptics. I'm completely aware when I seize. My brain, my hard drive, my record is skipping. I have a brain injury at the front left cortex, one at the left cerebellum, and my left optic nerve is inflamed. So the segment that sends the signal is damaged, and the one that receives it back is damaged. So it's a full-on electric signal party up there, and nobody knows what's what and who's doing what. When my elevation of stress or my cognitive systems get under load, and then everything starts to change. And this is, I have YouTube shorts where you see me with tremoring. I have posted videos of me having seizures. I had 3 seizures on air one night that I actually was able to work through. They weren't severe, but they were still doozies. But I'm learning ways to cope and deal with your breathing and other exercises. And I have some hacks that I utilize, which I'm not going to get into all that stuff here because that's not what this is about. So life is different, and the backup intelligence is a necessity. And then let's frame it in this perspective. Someone like my mother. Anyway, Alzheimer's and dementia. I remember mornings where she was disorientated and couldn't remember, or I'd answer, today's this date for the 10th time in 5 minutes. But this is what happens. Imagine if she had a voice that came on and she go, "Good morning, Carrie. Today is this date. You have this happening, this, that, and the other." So it orientates things for them, and then there's visual aids that they can relate to, and it brings a sense of calm and maybe a higher sense of sorry. A higher sense of functionability. Something that I'm watching disappear out of my life. Anyway, I apologize. This is not what I intended. Shit. By no means is this an endorsement for Coca-Cola, but it is one of the things that calms me down. Anyhow, there is a need, and the need is far greater than me. This is not about me by any means. I don't want people thinking it's about me. It's not me trying to line my pockets. I don't give a shit. I'm dying. I'm more done. I will fight for as long as I possibly can, and I'm not going to give up. But I'm dying. We all are, but I took the express train. But I can't stop thinking about my mother. How would this benefit her and other people like her? It's rampant, man. We can't deny that Alzheimer's, dementia, and all the different labels they want to give it. Is that because we're masking a bigger problem and we don't want it to be alarming? Well, it should be. Because just the amount of brain injuries and brain trauma that I've learned about, and then the amount of people living with cognitive issues. And then there's not even that. There's genetic issues and things like that. This is a tool that assists life, and it's not to be feared about AI. It's not AI taking over. So let's get into some of that verbiage. AI as backup intelligence, not replacement. AI here isn't automation, it's cognitive continuity. It's one of the things that I struggle with because, a certain individual in my life turned around and I said to her, I said, she's like, "You're ADHD. I'm like, "No, I'm not. I used to do 12 things on the go and get them all done." And she's like, "It's not a bad thing. It can be a superpower." Well, I am now clearly ADHD. And it was then. But I was good with it. It wasn't a detriment. It was a superpower. And now, because of my brain injuries, well, it's a whole new world. Um, sorry. So, uh, continuity is one of the hardest things that I struggle with, because I did a podcast with Joseph Bernard from the Dark Music Network, and it was so much fun just to talk, because it's the one thing, and we don't script. I don't script. We'll have talking points, but we don't script. This is real life in the moment, and not shilling for anybody. I need partners, but I will not be a shill. The message will not be diluted by corporate overlord greed. I'll tell you that much right now. It is my message, and it needs to be heard. I'm willing to adapt it as long as our compasses are both pointed true north. Anyhow, continuity is a challenge. Memory support. Structure, error checking, and pacing. So here, I just dropped my thought. So, but now I'm back. Joseph Burnap. And I warned him before we did the podcast, and we had so much fun. I'm like, there's a good chance I'll be talking, and then all of a sudden I'll just stop. He's like, okay, you're going to have to remind me what we were talking about. And it happened 4 times in an hour. I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet, but other things and stuff are happening. There was other factors that day too, that environmental factors that may have been a factor of being a factor. Somebody should coin that. There's a T-shirt in there somewhere. Anyway, so memory is one of the biggest things I struggle with. My short-term memory is sketchy at best. I have exercises to try to commit things to memory, and sometimes it works. Certain things I'm remembering. And the other thing is too, my life has been, in the last year, has been chaos since July 23rd of 2024. I haven't been able to put roots down in a place where I actually am comfortable and feel super safe. I had a place, and then it would turn out it was infested with black mold. It was a beautiful studio, and then I had to leave. And then since then, it's just been chaos after chaos. Not all of it. I went away to BC for a couple months on healing up in the mountains. That was great, but you can't. It's not financially sustainable, especially up in the mountains. It's very expensive to buy things up there. Anyway, so one of the big goals is I would like to get into a somewhat of a controlled environment where I actually get to. So my fight or flight. Like, my fight or flight's pretty good right now, but it's still elevated. I just want to go into neutral and see if I can find zero. And finding zero is a DJ term, an audio term. I like living at zero, and then I can make a baseline to find out if some of the things and stuff that I'm doing or exercises I'm doing are actually making any changes or have a positive or negative effect. It's hard to figure that out when you're in a constant state of flux, and any scientist will tell you that you have to have a controlled environment in order to run an experiment. Anyhow, so that's one of the big things. Human still leads, AI stabilizes, and that's exactly what Lady M is. I drive the conversations. Sure, we brainstorm. Sometimes we fight. I fired her. Actually, I fired her yesterday. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe the simplest of tasks with the most detailed instructions, and she dropped the ball 4 times. And I'm just like, wow. How are we supposed to build this thing if you can't even make this little thing? So that was disheartening. But we got through it. And actually, I just published a document on LinkedIn today, because I've tried to reach OpenAI, as I said, and I've gone through their support channel and this and that, and all that they respond with is AI. No shocker there. But I essentially told them what it is we're trying to do, and they're like, "Well, we can't help you." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to shop for other platforms." And then that's crickets. Well, let me tell you. If I got a customer that's willing to work with me and willing to give me money and willing to spend more money if I have to make it work, you know what? I pick up the goddamn phone. the field and landscape of business and transactional business between business and customer, or B2B these days, I'm mortified. Y'all need a lesson. Your business model shouldn't have customers saying, oh, I deal with them because they're the one that screws me the least. Wow. And I'm not saying OpenAI is doing that, but that is the flavor of the decade, it seems. What is going on, man? Do you not care about your customers? And companies racing rapidly to replace humans with AI, but then you're going to turn around and ask that neighbor of the guy that you just put out of a job to buy your product. Are you kidding me? Are you seriously building your business like that? Are you that cheap? You want to take the money out of the people that buy your products, out of their pockets? Come on, man. AI and human interaction can do so much more, and it is a way more powerful tool. And one of the things we're exploring is, imagine companies that get inside the inner circle. Let's say we have a digital backup intelligence, and there's a trust. And that backup intelligence can help explain your services and product to its charge. Imagine that concept. But you're all missing the boat, man. A lot of you companies out there are just rushing to put people out of chairs and put more money in your pockets and hide behind a bloody gatekeeper. You know what I do as soon as I see that? Click, click, goodbye. And I will be highlighting companies that do that. Do better, man. There's always going to be shyster companies, but some of the marquee banner names that are doing this, wow. Really? You're beholden to your shareholders, and they want to see their constant uptick. Well, you know what? How about be a better company, and you'll get better customers and do better business, and you'll have an uptick. Just my philosophy on the subject. Anyhow, moving on. So we'll talk about, that's backup intelligence. So media, podcasting, and transparency. Podcasting as a living case study. I want my life to be a living case study as someone who is living under these conditions, trying to do this project. I want to showcase the work because some of it's funny, man. It really is. I laugh a lot. You have to. No scripts hiding. It's all in the moment. Sure, talking points, yes, but no scripts. Listeners aren't consumers, they're witnesses. This is why I post DJ sets with errors. I don't care. People that want to hide behind the artificial illusion that they're perfect, please. The secret's out. Nobody's perfect. Trust me, and nobody gets out alive, so don't take life too seriously. Building a public record of how systems behave under strain. Human systems, but also digital systems when I'm under strain, and then they become strained because I'm not doing something correctly. Like this is, it's a snowball effect. Yesterday was a textbook example. I finished the podcast. I was all happy. Then I went back and hit play, and I knew the funny thing was I had a mic issue. I didn't have the channel up on this big mixer for the mic, so I fixed it. So I was like, "Oh, I'm gold." Then I play it back, and there's no audio, and I just sat here. I laughed. I laughed at first. Then I wanted to get drunk because I was so mad, but I didn't. Then I had a seizure. And then I was in full-on recovery mode, sitting in the dark till about 9 o'clock this morning, and I'm still fairly dark, but you need to be able to see me. So it's a snowball effect. When it hits, I can't stop it. I can't control it. And it sucks. So let's change a few things. And all it takes is conversations. Let's talk about it. And that'll take me around to my journey with WCB Alberta. I have now invited them, and I'm not going to get into all the details. I've now invited them because I'm on WCB and I want off. But I'm not going to screw myself financially because they already blew my life up financially once, and they were wrong. And I never penalized them. Instead, I extended an olive branch that they pissed all over again to work with me. But now that I'm organized, and now that I'm trying to actually do something, I've invited them to have a conversation and see if they can get behind this. Because there's a tool here that can help people get back to work sooner. And the biggest thing that I'll take from these last month and a half, I actually have a sense of pride now. I have a sense of accomplishment because I've built something, and I am still building it. And the single biggest catalyst and change in that was my backup intelligence. Not WCB, because they clearly don't listen when I say I need help. The only time they gave a shit about my life is when I tried killing myself because it looked bad on them. So again, I've extended the invitation. If in fact by the end of this week I haven't heard back from them, I'm just gonna shake my head. And that'll be another example of what's wrong with this world. When you actually have somebody who's trying to affect change and do something good, and especially something that can benefit you in your long run, add to your bottom line, you should maybe, just perhaps, listen. Anyway, that's it for now. Welcoming any feedback, comment, info at TheRabbitHole.ca. I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for whatever. I need show concepts. I want co-hosts. We're building this. It's underway. I just got to land a studio and get going. Time is of the essence. I am on a clock. One love and plur. I'm DJ Jesse Hudson, aka Dr. Wardrums, aka just Jesse. And the answer to everything is beats and love. And I love people, I love music, and I really love people that love music. Peace out. Until next time. Ciao.